Magnus Carlsen, the Norwegian chess grandmaster and former world chess champion, is known for his deep positional understanding, exceptional endgame technique, sharp calculation, and relentless fighting spirit. In fact, he's so good at chess that he remains undefeated for 125 games in a row. But what happens when he faces the best female player of all time, Judit Polgar? Judit is one of the greatest female chess players in history. She achieved the title of Grandmaster at the age of 15, becoming the youngest player, male or female, to accomplish this feat at that time. Magnus plays the white pieces and starts with d4, a common opening move called the queen's pawn opening. Judit replies with knight to f6, the king's Indian defense. Magnus continues with c4 and black plays g6. After that, Magnus captures the entire center with his pawns. Judit moves her bishop to g7, and she castles kingside. Magnus plays knight to g2, attempting to reroute it to a more active square. A couple more developing moves unfold and Magnus is in a great positional advantage here, as Judit fails to develop her queenside pieces. After thinking for a while, Judit replies with a surprising move, knight to a6. Magnus moves his bishop to e2, preparing to castle. Judit plays her queen to c7, and Magnus castles his king to safety. Judit decides to strike in the center, so she plays e5, attempting to open up with the d-file. Magnus immediately locks the center, and Judit continues with the kingside attack with move h5. Magnus plays queen d2, creating a battery with his queen and bishop. Judit decides to kick white's knight and jump in with her own knight, again trying to strike in the center, looking to trade her pieces and open up the center. Magnus moves his knight to d3, creating an escape route for his bishop. Judit attacks the bishop and Magnus simply slides it back. The position is equal until now, but Judit plays a brilliant move, knight to g3, a knight sacrifice that would lead to serious disaster if Magnus captures this free knight. Realizing this, he simply slides his rook out of danger. Judit blocks the diagonal of white's dark square bishop, and Magnus decides to take the risk and trade off the knight for the bishop. Now Magnus strikes back with his queen to g5, targeting Judit's undefended pawn. Judit moves her queen to protect her pawn, and Magnus replies with knight to b5, targeting another pawn. Judit defends the pawn with her queen, allowing Magnus to capture the pawn on g3. Judit moves her bishop to a more active square, and Magnus moves his king to f2, preventing kingside attacks. Black moves her terrible knight to a better square, and Magnus moves his rook to h1, attacking the bishop and looking to dominate the semi-open h-file. But Judit does not allow Magnus to do so. She plays king to g7, protecting her bishop. Magnus offers a queen trade, which Judit almost immediately accepts. Hey fellow chess champs, it's your trusty steed Horsey here. If you're enjoying the strategic battles on this board as much as I am, hit that subscribe button faster than a knight jumping over pawns. After trading their queens and playing a few more moves, Judit decides to strike and plays bishop to e3, sacrificing the bishop to fork the king and the rook. Magnus already knows this is coming. He willingly accepts the sacrifice, realizing he can move his king in no time to trap the black's knight. Judit is in deep trouble now. She's down on material, time, and position. After some moves, Judit trades off Magnus's knight on b5, which is a blunder. Magnus has a great positional advantage here. A couple of more moves unfold and Judit tries to launch an attack on Magnus's pawn by playing rook to h2, but Magnus protects it with his rook. Judit makes a huge blunder by capturing the pawn on b5 with the rook. Magnus plays a brilliant move, bishop to b5. This move traps the black's rook, and this is a completely winning position for Magnus. Judit Polgar resigns immediately, and Magnus emerges victorious. His skills and determination are too much for Polgar to overcome, for now.